Hey guys, this is GameGeek2 here with another battle, another EV battle, and it's also a Macedonia versus Epirus battle, but this time on the other side. I'm playing as Macedonia, my opponent is Capo, who's playing as Epirus, and this is sort of a testing battle. I'm trying out more infantry heavy builds than I traditionally would bring, and trying out some new units as well. I haven't used Peltastai in a while. I'm also trying out these Taxis Tribaloi as well. I have 4 Agrianians, 4 Foreign Phalanx, and 2 Levy Phalanx. You can see the battle starts off. Sorry about that, headset slipped off. Battle starts off with missile duel. Follow up, and my guys get the better of that because I have them in a different formation, targeting or something like that. I don't know why. But anyways, I got the better of the missile duel. Even though he picked off some of my non-missile units. He got a few gets a few peltas that I think picked off a couple of my phalanxes with extra arrows. And see, I have 14 infantry units, plus 3 cavalry and 3 missiles, and 2 of them are Cretans, which are actually decent light infantry. He has, of course, 2 Cretans and 1 Slinger as well, just like me. He's got 4 Peasant Tyroi and 1 Levy Phalanx. Wait, sorry, 3 Peasant Tyroi and 2 Levy Phalanx. Got 2 Boi, a couple 304oi, a couple Agrianians, Celtic, and he's got a lot of he's got 5 units of cavalry, 1's a general, 2 skirmish cavalry units, and 2 lancer cavalry units. One of them is the Molossian Agama, and another is Prodroi. So I have an infantry advantage, and my opponent has a cavalry advantage. So what I'm going to want to do is keep reserves to guard against his cavalry at all times. I can afford to do this because I have the infantry advantage, and I have a phalanx advantage. But despite having a phalanx number advantage, I also have a quality advantage. Well, not despite, in addition. And so I devise a plan to take advantage of this. You can see I leave my Deuteroi back, and yeah, you can see his Cretans reformed and are pestering my various lighter infantry units. You see he advances his phalanx to go into battle. I form mine up in very deep formations so as to not have them engaged in too much frontage, but at the same time I take advantage of the fact that he can't exploit this gap, so I can form my phalanxes up very deep and thus gain an advantage over his. Because phalanxes only engage on a limited front because of the length of their pikes, having depth in a phalanx formation is actually better. If you can just plow through the center of the enemy formation that way without the phalangites on the flanks being able to engage very well. The problem with this plan, of course, is that it leaves you more vulnerable to flanking by creating gaps like this one in your pipeline. And I engage 4 of his units, and he brings his 5th one into flank, and I hit him on the flank with Agrianians. It's a sort of a chain of units coming in here. He brings in 3 infantry, I bring in another Agrianians, and then I quickly rush my Peltas over, so I can deal as much damage as quickly as possible here. This is just 3 or 4. And I'm moving over my phalanxes to try to get on his flank and engage there. He's able to get a few volleys onto the flank here, but not to much avail. And he's not really doing anything with his cavalry. I'm not doing anything with my cavalry. I'm keeping them as far away as possible in order to avoid them engaging or getting shot at. I just want to save them for when the moment is right. So I'm moving my phalanx over here to hit his 3 or 4, and I'm using my Peltas to kill off a lot of Boi. So move over my phalanx. You can see here the fights were pretty even. But over here on the phalanx side, he brings in his Cretans. I have my Cretans and I rush them in. And this is not going to end well for his Cretans. And you can see my narrow fronted strategy is working. I'm able to put up a deeper front, and as soon as I can get him down to 5 ranks deep, I'll have an overwhelming advantage. Because 5 ranks is the maximum number of pikes you can project in front of you. Because of the flanking, and because he forgot to turn off guard mode on this phalanx, he's not able to deal a whole lot of extra damage over here with his flankers, which would otherwise be quite decisive. I move in a phalanx here to flank, but he gets a ton of javelins on the back, so that phalanx ends up doing much. I pull out my peltas because they got too close and reform them to get a few last javelin volleys in. I think I overextend this phalanx a bit too much, but I counted on him not attacking here. However, he does get more javelin volleys in, which is not good. I notice him coming in. Because he's not charging at me, I am, according to fair play rules, allowed to turn my phalanx. And here's where I commit my Tribaloi. I see his Agrianians coming in to get me. I think I should have used my Tribaloi to plug this gap, honestly, because this is what's going to end up to a lot of my guys getting killed. But I end up using that. I end up getting these things to mix. I do get some decent damage with my peltats on his units over there. You can see he still hasn't committed his cavalry, and this is a major disadvantage for him because I have many more infantry than him, and if he can't get his cavalry in, then my infantry is just going to eat him up, and then his cavalry won't be able to do anything productive. And you can see this is already a real danger, because I'm winning with my reformed phalanxes versus his levies and his regular phalanxes, despite his flank attack. And it's not that my infantry is really... I mean, my infantry is a fair bit better than his. His Tribali, for example, are much better than Boy. But at the same time, it's more numerous, or I have more units of it at least. And you can see he finally gets to moving his cavalry over here. And I have my slingers. Well, soon enough I'm going to have my slingers start shooting. But I wasn't actually paying attention at this point, and only at the last second did I see him come in for this charge. This is going to destroy me on this flank. The first one comes in, and this guy is shaken. He's going to crack soon as well. He got 3 units, and this unit's wavering. He keeps them in for just enough, so this unit routes as well, I think. No, it doesn't route. It's something else that routes, but I get in my Agrianians soon enough to scare him off, however, and I move in my Hetairoi to get a charge in as well. I have my slingers as well. I'm not sure what his slingers were doing. I guess they started firing when my Hetairoi came into play, but I don't think they got enough all their missiles. You can see on this flank, my phalanx cracks, but despite that, I have many more men than he does. And again, you can see his cavalry sort of milling about, not getting in any damage. He used up all of his javelins trying to kill off my phalangites, and not able to use them on more valuable troops like the Tribali. And you can see his lesser units like these 3 or 4 are starting to break. His Boy are getting ground down by, again, more numerous and better quality units. And here in the center, these guys rather easily destroyed this unit. This is a bit more of a fight, but still incremental advantage means that's going to win. And this fight's completely broken down because of the cavalry charge. You can see his Moose Cavalry in. This time I have my Carepos nearby to threaten some degree of opposition. Still, he gets in a decent charge. Decent enough to crack that unit. Anytime when you have 3 Lancers and it's on a unit, it's going to kill him. And I, for some reason, decided to concentrate my javelins on trying to whittle those numbers down, but that's not a good idea. You do, however, get to see that basically his entire center cracks at the same time. And so this sort of spells his doom. because I have all these extra phalanxes that I can turn to other melees now. I have my Hetairoi over here. If I have the Tarantines, that's not going to go off the Hetairoi. I think I did a sort of illegal phalanx turn there. I almost did that here. But it's not that it's incredibly relevant. I wouldn't have cracked it. I have a huge numbers advantage now. As you can see, his cavalry, while they got in a lot of good charges, didn't do enough as to be decisive to defeat my infantry advantage. And other things happened as well, like my Cretans did better in the missile duel because I had them in a better formation, less deep formation to be precise, and I made better use of my Sphenonetai. You can see his Sphenonetai, they're somewhere here. Okay, there they are. They kind of routed with the rest of his units and didn't get off all their missiles. See this phalanx unit that was previously not successful in the falling break. But there's too many of my guys. And Siggy battle is over. Just watch everything resolve itself. His cavalry will be rather profligate for a while, but he missed the feat. And that's it. That was pretty close, pretty well fought. A lot of guys died. You can see most of the kills. A lot of kills from my Peltas, my Tribali. A decent number from some of my Agriani. The bulk of them coming from these reformed phalanx units and my good infantry. The levies, they got chewed up by javelins, as you saw. And some kills from my cavalry, but they were mainly mopping up the enemies who were too disorganized. And a lot of kills from my slingers, which is always a good thing to see. Again, most of those were cavalry units that got hit by sling bolts, and that's pretty devastating as always. So I'm going to try to cut sling morale in the next update. Not sling morale, sling numbers. Although morale cut might be justified as well. Anyways, well fought, good game, and I'll bring you another battle soon.